Dante's journey comes full circle. Michonne finds a new friend, and Daryl and company completely ignore Admiral Akbar.
It's a trap!
On the mid-season finale of The Walking Dead, Season 10, Episode 8, The World Before. Hey everyone, D here, and welcome to this week's review of the mid-season finale of The Walking Dead. So yes, of course, spoilers are ahead, and do always want to remind you about our quick jump index system. Right in the description below, have this entire review time-stamped, codified. You can jump to the end first, you can watch the beginning last, you can watch this review in any order you'd like. Alright, so our big mid-season finale, summing up the past 7-8 episodes here, getting us ready for kind of a larger encounter with the Whispers. And I think they did a good job overall of sort of wrapping up this first half of the season. We get our Dante, the sickness storyline, kind of wrapped up, and yet we can see the implications of now having an infiltrator that's been with the group for so long, the sort of paranoia ramifications that come after that. Very intent on destabilizing Alexandria and the rest of the survivor communities. I think Alpha and Dante did accomplish that, certainly by Michonne's reactions when she gets to Oceanside and having to now warn everyone that all of your vetting all of your vetting programs, those all have to be revamped because the Whispers have been here a lot longer than we think. So I mean that's kind of a good thing. It works with the whole psychological aspect that we've been hitting on for the whole first part of the season. Also, we do get back to Oceanside, which is nice. A little more journeys with Michonne and Judith. And I have to say, I like Judith a lot more in this episode. And I think part of that is because when she gets cutesy and kidsy, it seems very much out of sort of the world. Here, I mean, yeah, she's talking about, she's writing her book and she's doing things. That didn't seem wrong, but even her interactions with our stranger, Virgil, who we find out afterwards, a certain kind of edgy precociousness, almost a quietness to her. And I'm not talking like when she talks, things go down. I think sometimes when they give her too much dialogue, they give her too much stuff, it gets more My Little Pony versus my rotting walker kind of feel to it. Here she felt a little bit quieter, a little more reserved. Even how she was interacting with Michonne seemed a little bit more kind of mature. So again, she's sometimes half good, sometimes half bad, but I liked her a little bit more here. And of course we get our introduction with Virgil. Very understandable why they might be a little cautious about welcoming a new person, but someone that might open up a new avenue, some new resources for fighting against the Whispers, and certainly their horde. Assuming, of course, that our band of Daryl and company, Carol, Kelly, Aaron, Jerry, Connie Kelly, Carol, Daryl, Aaron, Jerry, do I got everyone there? Anyway, they're doing their little, of course, hunt to go track down the herd. And that was probably one of the sections that I had a few issues with, just because venturing into enemy territory, that seems a very large group, certainly able to make more noise, carry more attention, and I just don't really exactly know what their goal was with that size of group. And of course, it just ended up getting them in trouble, which gives us to our big, fun, climactic cliffhanger right there at the end of the episode. So overall, I think good. Certainly moving this story forward. Certainly, I think wrapping up a good chunk of the elements that are happening here in the first half of the season. And, of course, giving us a hint of what it is we can expect in the back half. All right, well, let's start things off, of course, as the episode started off with Dante's history. And I have to say, I appreciated this. And they covered a lot of ground. Really, that whole opening sequence is only 4 minutes long. That really shows Alpha's discussion with Dante and his whole infiltration. You know, giving us the background on how exactly he came into this position as someone who works for Alpha. And like I said, I thought that it was quickly done, efficiently, emotionally strong. We get a few answers to us. Primarily is, why doesn't Lydia recognize Dante? Well, because Dante was a new recruit. We get that line right after the whole barn incident as Alpha says, I need your eyes and ears inside. Lydia's not going to recognize you because you are new. Now, we can raise some questions because between the barn and when Lydia was first captured, it's not a whole lot of time there. At least it didn't feel like a whole lot of time. Now, it's possible that so again, it's a short amount of time for Dante to come into the fold and be trusted enough that he is going to be one of the Whisperers chosen for the whole barn murder spree. So it would seem that that's someone that Alpha has a certain amount of trust for. So that might be questionable. I mean, he could have been here before Lydia had left, but from what we saw from Negan, the kind of process of becoming a Whisperer seems very public for the Whisperer group. You seem to certainly be working with the rest of the Whisperers, the rest of the group, and you are unmasked. You haven't earned your skin yet. So, if he was in the group before Lydia left, much more surprising why she wouldn't have recognized him. And it does seem like a very small window in order to recruit someone in and have them be trusted enough to do the barn murder spree and then go ahead and send in. However, that's nitpicky. And even I could recognize that. I still think, again, but it was great that we just got that insight. She's not going to recognize you because you're new, and you're smart, and you're loyal, and you're adaptable. All very good qualities, all very good with Dante. I love how he infiltrated. He had his skin on, brought a bunch of walkers in, and walking around until he finds a group of people, then pulls the mask off and turns around, oh my God, help! Again, smart. Takes his time and moves in. Now, Aaron had mentioned that he was in the group for 4 months. And I'm not sure how much time has passed since the whole pikes in the head and barn thing, is certainly through winter. So we could imagine probably maybe 6 months, 6+ months or so since the whole head piking thing. So that would give him time, 2 months, to infiltrate another group, set himself up, maybe guide them towards Alexandria to be discovered, and then come in and go through the whole vetting process and the videotaping and everything else that they normally do, and then establish it for 4 months. So we do have enough time from the piking until now for him to have done that journey and kind of come in and established himself. So it's nice that we get that kind of background for him. It legitimizes how he was able to get into position. Now, of course, my big question that I had before is, why would he do this? Why didn't he see this wonderful world and not want to be a part of it? Why would he want to go back to walking around in corpses? And that's because Dante's a nihilist. Effectively, he believes in nothing. All of your ideas and constructs are, all of your ideas are merely mental constructs, and they're all going to fail. I mean, just very cold, very calculating. That whole kind of scene where he's, let me jump back a little bit, because of course, after our intro, we get the whole Rosita murder scene, near murder scene, which was, again, just perfect to keep that edgy eye. He had just killed Sadiq. Rosita pops up with the baby, and Sadiq, or Dante's like, oh man, we were just hanging out and he got called away. He's just all sweaty and pouring and hot, and just like, you do not look like you've just been chilling out. And much like he suspected that Sadiq had figured out who he was, very quickly seeing that Rosita's not buying his picture and steps right out there. I mean, again, Dante, very immediate in his decision making. Super glad Rosita basically beat the crap out of him, which was awesome. Very freaky with the Sadiq Walker bit. I mean, even when as Dante's holding down Rosita and Siddiq's moving towards the crying baby, was he like, oh, some parents in nature, eat their babies. God, man, that's freaking cold. We deserve to get the crap beat out of him. And poor Rosita having to spike Siddiq like that in the head. I mean, you got to save your baby, but still, that's a hard way to go. And then, like I said, and then like I was getting to the whole interview process where we sort of see Dante's belief that this world isn't going to last. You're lying to people to think that this is the world it's going to be. It's all going to fall apart. Why am I here? And this is the best part, I think. Why am I here? To sow dissension, to make you paranoid and scared, to force you to make you scared of us and force you to make bad decisions, which are always going to lead to danger. There's a really important moment, I think, within that scene. When he's talking to Gabriel, who is really just asking, what are you doing? Why are you here? What's going on? And he does. He says, I want to take, I'm here to get in. And I love that he's honest and straight. I'm here to infiltrate, to disrupt, to increase your paranoia from us, to make you bad decisions. And then he pushes it even further. Basically, that he's going to demand a public trial. I'm going to love to see how you tear yourselves apart trying to figure out what to do with me. Ha, ha, ha. Well, you think we're going to give you a place to speak your word, to freely speak? Yes. You're going to do that because it's the right thing to do. Now, this is a good philosophy in trying to infiltrate the groups, is because you want to undermine their belief systems. But he's saying it to the wrong person right there. Because the look on Gabriel's face, right at that moment, I think is when he made his big decision. The decision, of course, that gets us to our Scene of the Week for this week, and that is Gabriel's confrontation with Dante all alone in the jail cell. Why? Because he murders his butt. Beautifully, effectively. But justice was served in that sense. I mean, look, Dante is already disrupting a community that Gabriel has helped build, that he's very fond of. He's also killed his friend, Siddiq. But he tried to kill Rosita. And Rosita's effect, that whole scene with Rosita and Gabriel in the house, where Rosita kind of says what had happened outside with Eugene. No, Eugene didn't help me, or I wasn't helping Eugene, Eugene helped me. And I'm scared, and before I didn't think about dying, and now that's all that I can think about. She has lost herself. She is scared. Dante has disrupted Rosita's sense of home and comfort. And Gabriel, as much as he has sometimes problems being brave, solves that problem. And again, it's a justifiable homicide right there. I mean, the Walker world, you got to kind of take out dangers. But again, no, we're not going to give you a platform to speak. We're not going to let the town tear itself apart trying to figure out what to do with you. And I'm not going to let you exist having killed my friend and scared my wife. It's a beautiful, vicious scene. I mean, I think that's part of it too, is because Gabriel, again, is so calm for the most part. Again, has problems being afraid. And here, just the whole attitude through this scene as he's talking with Gabriel is one of hardness. Even when he just opens the door and walks right up. That is the gait, that is the physicality of somebody who is completely unafraid. And I think Dante feels that, but doesn't get where that's going. So when it comes, it's swift and it's brutal and gets you all fist pumping, because Dante totally deserves that. And then I think the follow-up after that is also somewhat telling, because we have Rosita now looking out the window, seeing Gabriel walking out of the jail. And he's got to be covered in blood. I mean, he's wearing black, so it's hard to tell. But it looked like he's got his blood spears and everything on them. And she just looks like, yeah, And then they have the funeral pyre, because you got to burn the body. To get rid of him. It's like that bonding moment where he just kind of puts her head on there. He has done his job. He has made her feel safe. He has protected her. He has done the thing. So it's great because it increases their relationship. It's awesome because Dante totally deserved it. And I just love seeing Father Gabriel kind of step up in that hard move to do the right thing. So yeah, great all around. Now, of course, we have Michonne, Judith, and Luke on their way to Oceanside. Luke whistling a little tune. It's kind of an odd moment there because, yeah, he's loud, he's whistling, that draws attention. When they spot tracks for a scout, Michonne turns around and says, okay, maybe we should be quiet. So that's the perfect time for the conversation to start between Judith and Luke there. Again, small thing, I guess maybe if you're speaking quieter, it doesn't carry as much as the whistles. But literally, like, right after Michonne's like, maybe we should keep it down, then the talk begins. Which was just odd. The really odd thing on that, to be honest, well, I mean, that was funny, not so much of odd. But the one odd thing that was is the library. And I gotta say, I'm not sure how I feel about that. Look, we don't live in a zombie apocalypse. I don't know how long things are going to last, what's going to be used, what's not going to be used, what's going to be pilfered, what's going to be left alone. Books, however, paper source, good for burning. Post-electricity world, that might be a great resource for a town, for people, for survivors. So part of me was like, why are there so many books in this library? Also, considering the fact apparently this town is on the way to Oceanside. They literally say, we are driving through this town that the library is in that Luke knows so well about. Wouldn't they have already pilfered that library? At least be super familiar with it? It didn't seem that they've been in there before. But I would think, again, if you're going back and forth with Oceanside and stuff, here is a resource. I mean, you just want your own library at Alexandria and stuff to be stocked well. So, I don't know, maybe they've stopped by this library before, maybe not. It was such an odd thing to be like, okay, post-apocalypse, head to Oceanside, let's stop by the library, check out a couple of books. It was just a little weird for me. But of course, that does give us an opportunity to meet our stranger, a.k.a. Virgil, a man just looking to get back to his family. And of course, his presence pretty much just builds off of the whole paranoia approach. Of course, it's in the library where Michonne gets the radio call to tell about Dante and his infiltration and the possibilities of going after the herd and everything else. So you could see where that paranoia would be set up. And it is odd for Virgil to just sort of appear, save Luke, and then run out. But trust's a hard thing in the post-apocalyptic world. You can sort of understand that. But it really just ends up being what the whole focus there at Oceanside is. Convenient that there's a walker attack right as he shows up. So we can figure out, is he with the walkers? Is he not? He's certainly not willing to give answers. But he's smart about it. The conversation they eventually had with Michonne is like, I can't tell you where it is. I have to protect my family. Can't tell you where our safe place is. You know, so I mean, that's good. And like I said, I do like the scenes between him and Judith. Judith just being the precocious kid, reading the book. It's my book. Well, it's from the library. Well, it's for my daughter. She's just kind of ignoring him, like, yeah. What do we call her? A demon with a sword. Your daughter's a demon with a sword. I don't mean that in a bad way. And even that I kind of liked with Judith. I thought that dealt out pretty well. So yeah, a lot of better Judith stuff in this episode. But ultimately what this really all comes down to is the naval base. That's where Virgil's family is staying. That is where he is trying to bring supplies back to. Of I would think that that would be pretty well supplied. He doesn't seem to have anything outside of a backpack, so was he just going for a book, or did his supply run fail? How was he planning to get back? How did he get from the island to here if he now needs a boat to get back? There are a lot of questions that Virgil brings up. But the opportunity to raid a naval base, an island, an easily defensible position, far enough out there that most people aren't going to get, potentially relatively untapped, could give the large-scale weapons that Michonne and company need to go against the Whisperers and the Horde and everything else. So yeah, you got to kind of take the chance. And I appreciate both Michonne going, look, it just has to be me. I'm not dragging anyone else there. If you're going to risk anyone, it should just be one person. And even Judith's response with that is, well, but it could end the war. Sure, you want to get back. You want to, Alexandria's going through stuff, but you could have something that could end the war. Of course, you got to take that chance. Again, good, thoughtful daughter there. So, yeah, very intrigued to where that's going to stay. Like I said, a lot of questions that Virgil brings up just because Untouched Naval Base should have a lot of supplies. Of course, it's been 10 years, so maybe he's just gone through most of the food. Doesn't need the weapons. Maybe only brought a weapon or two and then lost it. So we got to find out more about how he left the island, what he was looking for, how this came back. There are a lot of questions, but he does feel trustworthy, at least. And I know he's a character from the comics, but so was Dante, and they've used him completely differently. So I'm not going to draw conclusions on what Virgil is actually for. It's going to have to play out here on the show. But coming back with some major naval-based weaponry, that could do something against the herd. And finally, we have the quest for the herd. Our little gathering of group post Sadiq's funeral, heading out to track down the Whisperer herd. And do what? What exactly is the plan here? And this is where I kind of have an issue with this episode, just because I didn't feel that it was very clear. I mean, you're still crossing borders. She still has this whole herd. There could still be repercussions. So I would assume that much like the previous border crossing, you're going to want to be quiet. You're not going to want to leave traces. You're not going to grab attention. You certainly don't want to encounter anyone. So, and you only have a handful of people. So I would assume that the goal here is just to locate the herd, find out if Mary was telling the truth about where it is, and then maybe assess its size. Is it as many as what Daryl thinks? Is there sort of a plan? I mean, just basically an intelligence gathering mission, which I would think would require very few people, maybe 1, 2, 3 at the most. Why do we have this large group going in? Now, we do have a nice moment between Daryl and Carol in this, which I really like. First of all, Daryl is kind of stepping up more into a leadership position. I know, especially with Rick gone, and now that Denai Guerrero is going to be leaving, Michonne's going to be leaving, that it's really coming down on Norman Reedus is on Daryl's shoulders to sort of be the big lead, the big draw for the show. And I think they're doing well because he's always been the outsider. But here, even in the discussions post-Dante, when they find out about the herd and everything else, it's Daryl that's kind of given the orders. Okay, you go and do this, you do this, get these people together, we'll meet up afterwards. He is stepping into that leadership position. And they're doing it, I think, smartly in the sense of he's only focusing on the things that need to be done. He's not interested in leading. He's interested in getting things done. And I think that's going to be the great way for him to transition into a bigger leadership role. Part of that was maybe recommending that Carol stay back because she's a little unstable at this moment. And like I said, and that sort of leads to that nice talk between the two of them, which I thought was really great in an open emotional moment. When Daryl's like, what is your plan? What are you doing? I am the person you talk to. Me. It was so great because it's that strong friendship. These people that have this strong connection kind of like slap it in the face like, what the hell's going on? Talk to me. Tell me what you're feeling. I am the one that you talk to, not anyone else. Everyone else you lie to. You don't lie to me. And then even Carol kind of taking that moment, just like, I don't know how to. She's never been gotten off that boat. She's just a ghost right now. She doesn't know how to step into the world and live and have those emotional contacts. And Daryl's the only one that she can sort of have that with because of the history that they have had. Which is why she can't really connect with Ezekiel and having that very awkward moment post-funeral. So I like the fact that they had that little moment there in the darkness. Because everything kind of went downhill after that. Alright, so they find where the herd is supposed to be. The sunken area just on the edge of the forest, the sunken field on the edge of the forest, and so on. And they seem confused of whether or not the herd was there. I understand, it's not there, may have been there, not there anymore, but wouldn't there have been signs? I mean, if there are thousands, tens of thousands of walkers moving around in this field, wouldn't the grass be all mopped down? I mean, there should be like a massive trail of these walkers. And there is no comment about that. There should be a smell of post-walkers in this area, and nothing is said. They're just like, well, might have been here, maybe not, maybe she lied to us, maybe not. It was just such an odd thing. I was just expecting, like, there should be a definite sign of 10,000 walkers. You should know they were in this place. But there doesn't appear to be a single one. And it's daylight. Why are you tramping around in Whisper territory in the daylight in a group through a field? You are so visible. Really, at that point, I was totally confused. And then, of course, we have Carol's alpha sense. We did this before. At the beginning of the season, where Carol, like, wandering around is like, wait, there's something there. Let me go wander over and stare for a while, and then suddenly Alpha appears. And we get the exact same thing here. They're heading off to try and track down Lydia, because that's, of course, Daryl's big concern right now. Not the fact that you're in enemy territory with a large group of people. But again, Carol kind of weaves out like, I'll catch up, and wanders out, and she doesn't see anything. She wanders through she's got like some sixth sense of, you know, to locate Alpha, man. You can bottle that and use that. Probably be super useful. And it's a little bit of a deus ex to do that. It's a little bit of forcing this confrontation. Because, of course, yeah, Carol's going to see Alpha. Carol's heckles are going to all raise up. And she's going to get mad. And she's going to chase off. Which seems to be Alpha's plan there. I mean, for a moment, she seemed to have that shocked face. But as she's running away, she's slowing down and looking back like, making sure that she's not losing anybody. And then heading right into the big cave. The super obvious, she's going into some hiding place. And sure, I can get Carol rushing into her. She's obsessive. But then every other member of the group running in. And then Daryl thinking you're not hearing anything. Nobody's coming out. There's no fighting. Just running in all quiet. I mean, I can say, did they miss? If you look at it, there's Admiral Akbar right on top of that cave going, it's a trap. But no, just wanders right all in there. Luckily, he doesn't kill himself tumbling down the embankment there with his knives. That would have been a horrible end for Daryl right now. Gets to the bottom. He's got two of his own giant knives stabbed in him. But of course, that's where everybody else is. And that's where we find where the herd is. Which is kind of cool. Hiding them underground so they can't be seen. Awesome. But again, have you smelled that coming into the cave system? I mean, that's gotta reek bad. I mean, I get not hearing them, because they might have been quiet in there until everybody tumbled down the steps and came up, and then they saw prey, and then they started making noise. So I could get that maybe you wouldn't hear all the sounds as you came up to the cave and started wandering in of all the sounds of walkers. I can kind of go with that. But even then, it it just felt too obvious, too ridiculous, too much of a man-made cave system too. I mean, that's just television. You can't get down on them too much on it. But yeah, so, I mean, he gives us our great kind of cliffhanger moment. Oh my God, trapped in a cave with thousands or tens of thousands of walkers. What are we gonna do? How'd you get the walkers in there? Certainly not the way they came in, just tumbling down. Because you certainly couldn't get them out that way. There's got to be another exit. Probably on the other side of all these walkers, so... Yeah, I mean, it gives us our cliffhanger moment, but kind of a cheesy way of getting there. Alright, just a couple of small things. First off, did Mary lie? Do you think? Where was the trap? Was it Mary's trap or was it Alpha's trap? I don't know. I mean, look, Gamma, Mary, I agree with Aaron. I think she seems forthright. She sees how much Alpha is lying. We saw at the end of the last episode, she was collapsed. Her world had been destroyed. So I can sort of get the questioning of, look, is my nephew alive? I'd like to see him. My sister gave away for this group, which is all sucks now. So, I mean, there makes sense of why Mary would be honest in telling that. Now, could she be lying? Possibly. Could be that Alpha saw her and manipulated her a little bit more and then used that moment to go and send Mary in when Aaron is weak and believing that he has accomplished something. That's possible. It is also possible, I think, that that Alpha found out that Mary might be telling him where the herd is, maybe overheard something, maybe saw her crash down, understood that she may give something up, and then move the herd afterwards. That also makes a little bit of sense, too, because she was, at least relatively near where Mary had said, Gamma had said the herd was. That's how Kara was able to see her and then do the whole chase thing. So I'm not sure. If Mary had given it away, why not say where it was in the cave system or in that area? Was they just trying to get to that? Or was this Alpha taking advantage of seeing that Gamma, Mary, maybe turning things in and then moving the herd and using that to her advantage to then suck everybody else into a trap? It could go either way, and I'm curious what you guys think. We would need more information, but I'm kind of leaning more on the idea of Alpha being smart and taking advantage of maybe thinking Gamma Mary could turn on her and then using that to sucker in the rest of the group. That's my theory, at least. Really appreciate Rosita not killing Dante. I understand why she would want to, but certainly at the beginning, if Sadiq is dead, Dante's an infiltrator, they're going to need information. So the fact that Rosita just knocked him out, beat the crap out of him, but didn't kill him, points to Rosita for being smart, because tactically, that's what you gotta do. Then when they've got the information they needed, then Gabriel was able to do his thing. Aaron's little story to his daughter about the Native American village he discovered while hiking in California years ago. Kind of a nice, quick little story, certainly giving an implied idea of what could happen to Alexandria. He's saying here he is in this community, and they had people, and they had rules, and they had lives, and they had beliefs, and now there's just nothing. And I think as he's seeing the world changing and moving on, there's that idea of him is that could we be doing all of this, trying to make it in the world, and have our codes and our laws and our belief systems, but ultimately somebody years down the road is only going to find an empty village where they were. There's something creepy about that, but there's also something kind of, I don't know, cool about it. Just in the sense of a larger picture of the transition of time, that all things kind of move. And that Aaron's kind of just acknowledging that. Hopefully it's not some foreshadow that they're all going to die, which we could definitely go to. But I mean, just sort of the idea of him seeing the whole possible path, the whole future of what could happen. I don't know. There was just something very cool about it. My mercy prevails over my wrath. The line, of course, that came to Michonne's mind that her friend had said after speaking with Virgil, who was requesting mercy from her, or noticing that mercy is in short supply these days. Of course, we all recognize the line. That is what Rick said when he spared Negan's life. My mercy prevails over my wrath. So, get a little bit more than a friend for Michonne, though. Understandable about her not revealing too much information. But a very sweet moment right there. A great callback to Rick, an emotional bit. And who knows if this is the beginning of Michonne's journey out of the show. Hopefully going to find Rick. We'll find out how those movies are going to play out. So just a nice callback right there. Was very sweet. And of course, keeps Rick alive in the show. Of course, speaking of callbacks, another big sad loss for Siddiq is Carl died, bringing Siddiq in. So now Siddiq's dead kind of makes Carl's sacrifice, I don't know, less than. Anyway, it was just another, I think just it kind of came up in my mind as another reason why everybody is kind of extra pissed at Dante there. Like, you needed more of a reason. All right, well, I think that pretty much covers everything. So we are now, of course, in our mid-season break. We shouldn't get a return for the second half of the season until February. It's usually how it is. Ends around Thanksgiving, begins around Valentine's Day. And hopefully this will be the Whisperer War that we get going. And certainly there is no way to hide the fact that our group has crossed the border and infiltrated into Alpha's world there. So she's going to have a price to pay for that, assuming anybody manages to get out from the cave system, which they will. But also then we have Michonne hopefully going to find a new source of supplies and weaponry to fight said herd there at the naval base. So a lot of things to wait for, a lot of expectations held ahead of us. And we're just going to have to wait a few months to see how it all plays out. In the meantime, you guys like Lost? Old ABC show? Well, I have been doing season reviews with Marc over in Enchantment of Eternity, and this Tuesday, 7 p.m. Pacific, we're going to wrap things up with seasons 5 and 6. So, this Tuesday, 7 p.m. Pacific, over on Enchantment of Eternity, I'll put the link down in the description below, we're going to have our big season 5 and 6 finale discussion of Lost. Should be quite interesting. This is definitely, I think, where the show started to fall apart. So we should have some good and fun insights and discussions with that. Hopefully you guys can make it, 7 p.m. this Tuesday. And like I said, I will put a link to that down in the description below. But that will wrap us up for now. Thank you, as always, for joining me with this reviews and all of the reviews this season. Really excited about where Walking Dead is going, so it's a lot more fun to watch and talk about. And I do appreciate all of you joining me with that. And if you enjoyed it, please go ahead and hit that like button. Thoughts, ideas, and comments, throw those down in the section below. What do you guys think about this episode? What do you think about the herd in the cave? Do you think Mary set the trap? Was Alpha taking advantage of this? Can we trust Virgil? And what kind of supplies was he actually going for in that teeny tiny backpack? Let me know your thoughts. Throw those down in the section below. You can always catch me on Twitter and Instagram. I am at Darren Jakes. Please subscribe. I know we're done here, but we are halfway through the final season of Mr. Robot, and we are covering Mandalorian. Plus, you don't want to miss it when Walking Dead comes back. You won't miss any of those reviews if you're a subscriber. Do that by clicking this button right here. And be sure to hit the bell for notifications, let you know whenever any new review drops. And we'll throw up a couple of those latest reviews right here for you to check out. So, that's going to be it for me. I'm D. And I'm out of here. Catch you guys next time. Bye-bye.